The Galaxy will be without their offensive catalyst for MLS Cup Finals. Wednesday's National Signing Day can't come soon enough for USC, we'll tell you why, and the Chargers edge ever closer to a playoff berth. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It's December 2nd, 2024. Welcome back to the Sanctum Sanctorum of LA Sports. By the time you see this clip, I'm going to be on a plane heading off to work, which sucks for me, but at least I don't have to have my knee rebuilt. We'll get to that. If you like being in the know about LA Sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist, and by all means comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, we have an expanded look at the scoreboard. Rams 21, New Orleans 14. When Matthew Stafford played in Detroit, the reason this guy gained so much respect league-wide was how he would play in the second half, particularly the fourth quarter. That was Lions-era Stafford out there for the Rams yesterday. 10 of 14 in the second half with 2 touchdowns after the Rams had 0 points in the first half. 0. That's only the second time that's ever happened under Sean McVay. The other one was a Super Bowl loss to New England. Kyron Williams rushed for 104 yards, the other TD. New Orleans even pushed into the red zone late, but Jared Verse hit Derek Carr to force an incompletion on 4th down, and that sealed the victory. The Rams are 1 game out of first place in the NFC West with 5 games to go. Chargers 17, Atlanta 13. Now, many news outlets, if you've noticed, they love giving themselves out some letter grades after games. You know, players getting letter grades, coaches, teams. The only letters that sufficed for both teams yesterday were PU. That was some stank football out there. But for all the issues on second half offense for the Chargers, which we've been rightfully calling out, we've also been rightfully hailing that defense for their work all 4 quarters. The Chargers defense yesterday intercepted Kirk Cousins 4 times. One by Tarheeb Still was a pick 6 that turned out to be the only points that the Bolts would get in the second half. Ladd McConkey's 117 receiving yards, that was over half of the Chargers offense. But look, they're missing their leading rusher for at least 3 more weeks. Win any damn way you can. Straight up. Ugly wins are wins too. Now, according to the computer models by The Athletic, the Bolts have a 93% chance of making the playoffs. Win any way you can. Lakers 105, Utah 104. Anthony Davis scored 33 points. LeBron James added 27 with 14 assists. And the Clippers edged Denver 126 to 122. James Harden absolutely dominant, 39 points. Norman Powell, remember him? He added 28. Meanwhile, today, the Lakers are at Minnesota at 5. A note we didn't get to about the Lakers game last night in Salt Lake. Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, Cam Reddish, they all didn't play due to injury. We do not know their status for the game tonight. And let's get to the news. You can talk all you want about Apple TV's coverage of Major League Soccer, whether it's been any good. And a lot of people hate announcers, so you can pretty much guess it's negative. But to their credit, they were the first to ask after the Galaxy edged Seattle on Saturday, where's Ricky Puig? It would matter, wouldn't you say? The guy provided the key assist on the game-winning goal that lifted the league's signature club back to prominence on the edge of a 6th title. Only Puig came out minutes later from the locker room, and he would only speak to manager Greg Vanney with a cloth over his head, as if he didn't want to tell anybody what he was thinking. And it turns out Puig had a little bitty secret. He tore the anterior cruciate ligament in his left knee. He's not going to play an MLS Cup Final on Saturday. Moreover, it can take 6 months to a year to return from such an injury. If you don't believe me, ask Kawhi Leonard. next season for Ricky Puig is in serious doubt. Now, unlike Leonard, who hasn't even practiced with his team yet, let alone take part in a Clipper game, Puig played through the pain valiantly, allegedly 30 minutes after the injury occurred. And that is macho. That is Tom Selleck's mustache and Magnum PI from back in the 80s macho. So all respect to Ricky Puig. As for Saturday's game, to say this is damaging in the Galaxy's quest for a sixth title, it's accurate. It's not just that Puig has scored 13 goals in MLS's regular season and 4 more in the playoffs. It's that everything the Galaxy wants to do on offense goes right through Puig. Everything. He accounts for 17.8% of the Galaxy's total touches in the playoffs. In simplest terms, the Galaxy offense, we can X and O like it's football if we want, but the Galaxy offense is get the ball to Puig and see what he can do with it. If he has an open pass, like say he gets the ball in front of his own net, he's going to quickly look upfield, and if he sees a winger streaking ahead of the defense, he's going to launch a long bomb. If not, he's going to dribble upfield at top speed and try to create something. So it's damaging. Can't lie about it. What it is not is catastrophic. The Galaxy have played 5 matches this year without Puig. 3 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. And part of the reason for that, they are super deep in midfielders. What we don't know, though, is who's going to be Greg Vanney's ideal choice. Could go in any number of directions. For example, you could go with Bundesliga legend Marco Reus, but he appeared to be dealing with a groin issue Saturday. He was pulled at halftime. We don't know his status update. We could assume he'd play. And you'd also imagine that he'd be really bleeping inspired to excel. Reus played for Bayern Munich over at Bundesliga, right? He's never won a title. Bayern Munich, everybody in the Bundesliga for many, many years, played second fiddle to Dortmund. So yeah, I would imagine he's quite inspired to say he led a team to a championship. After that, to be honest, what the names I'm going to give you come in descending order of my preference. I like Diego Fagundes a lot. Now, he's not bringing the creativity of Ricky Puig. Nobody in MLS really does. But the thing with Fagundes is he's constantly making the correct decision. He's not taking crazy risks. You can get the ball to him and be confident that he's going to know what to do with it, which is very valuable, frankly, in a high-intensity playoff match. You have Mark Delgado, who subbed in for Reus and then sparked the counterattack that led to the Galaxy's winning goal. And by the way, you also have Gaston Brugman, who could shift over to that role in a pinch. Now back to Puig. His surgery has yet to be scheduled, but the Galaxy's quest for a title takes a hit. Their best player, arguably the best midfielder in MLS, blew out his knee last night. 2 nights ago. You would think after some of those trash routes that the USC wide receivers ran against Notre Dame on Saturday, one of the big selling points to potential recruits would be immediate playing time. Instead, 4-star wide receiver Jerome Miles is the latest decommit from USC's recruiting class of 2025. The Utah native was the highest ranked recruit in the class, and I believe he's the 12th player to take back his word, which again, teenagers have been known to do. He asked us to respect his decision on social media. I don't, because again, he's a teenager. How many teenagers do you know that make respectable decisions? Sure, go ahead and do it. Doesn't mean I gotta respect it. But they are his decisions to make. I mean, we were all indecisive and young once. I would say where this stings is that 9 of the decommits from SC were ranked in the ESPN top 300. Now, they still have 7 players in ESPN's top 300 committed. The early signing day for football is Wednesday. Meantime, much like we were discussing here yesterday, regarding USC's receiving room, it is incumbent upon Lincoln Riley to insist that the wide receivers already there have to level up. They have to level up. And I want to add something else, because every so often when I say things about USC's program, people think I'm a Lincoln Riley apologist. I don't want to come off as an apologist for the guy. I simply want to repeat for a moment why I am not on the fire Lincoln Riley hot take train that is chugging down the tracks. He has exactly 0 friends in the press. The way he left Oklahoma to come here, denying Luka Evans his credential last year. And don't get me wrong, he shouldn't have denied Luka Evans his press pass last year, but the press can be bigger mean girls than Lindsay Lohan could have ever imagined. We're not exactly talking about a bunch of intellectuals in the sports journalism crowd. So when I see the groupthink coming, oh, Lincoln Riley can't coach, Lincoln Riley can't coach, I hit the brakes on that instinctively. You're going to have to come at me harder than your feels. But it is fair for people to ask what the hell is going on when you're 6-6 in year 3. People were angry as hell and the Trojans went 8-5 last year. So I'm just going to tell you what I look at when I see the team. I don't see the defensive breakdowns of the first 2 years. I don't see a quarterback crying in his mama's arms. I see a team with a lot of one-score losses against arguably the nation's toughest schedule. Anybody could ask for breaks. I totally get that. But we wouldn't necessarily be having this discussion about Lincoln Riley if he just got a couple along the way. Meanwhile, over at UCLA football, none of what I'm about to say should be considered final, but when asked about the transfer portal and quarterbacking, UCLA coach Deshaun Foster told the LA Daily News how amazeballs Justin Martin was in a spot start against Penn State. So maybe not the final decision, but it looks like they're going to keep the position in-house. And yes, I am aware that current St. Louis third baseman Nolan Arenado posted Kendrick Lamar's Dodger Blue on social media. Oh, he's going to come to LA. He's going to come to LA. To which I say, it's a song, guys. It's a song. I get that it's a big hint, but trading for him would be difficult because he has a no-trade clause. Why does he have a no-trade clause? Because if he's going to get traded somewhere, he's going to want to renegotiate his contract. So trading for Arenado, not exactly a slam dunk. It could easily be seen as a negotiating ploy, even with the Cardinals. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example. Have you lost faith now that Ricky Puig is going to be out for possibly an entire year? For that matter, are you panicked even more about USC football? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We talk LA sports here every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortiel Queso production. Take care.